Well, in terms of yesterday's budget, it was a mixed bag. There were 84 measures in terms of tax and spending, most of them small, which highlights the fact there was too much micromanagement and too much interfering. On the big picture side, on the positive, there was £91 billion added to the economy over the next 4 years as a result of yesterday's budget. So that's good news. But the reality is that we have to look at yesterday alongside what happened last November in terms of the autumn statement. And in that autumn statement, the Chancellor announced some big tax increases, which will now still feed through, such as corporation tax increase, which was confirmed yesterday, and also the freezing of allowances so that many people are pulled in what's called fiscal drag. They're dragged into higher tax brackets. So some of the negative aspects in terms of hitting businesses and personal incomes from last autumn are yet to feed through and will now start to feed through. But yesterday there were some specific positive measures in terms of net boost. So pulling it together, it's a mixed bag. The real challenge is this. The Chancellor yesterday was right to focus on pro-growth strategy, but the budget yesterday doesn't go far enough in terms of delivering that growth strategy. And when the economy has, as it does at the moment, debt at over 100% of GDP, which means the government's debt is higher than the size of the economy, and that's partly because of the pandemic, partly because of the war in Ukraine. When debt is that high, the outlook for debt becomes very sensitive to the relationship between growth and interest rates. If growth disappoints, or if inflation pushes interest rates higher, then we get into a debt trap and an ever-feeding downward cycle. So growth is the key. Yesterday's budget was a step in the right direction, but we need to have more to have and to deliver upon that growth strategy.
Well, it wasn't a very big one, Gerard, in my opinion. And I still think that the upping of corporation tax to foreign investors particularly is a very negative move when, of course, you can go to Dublin for 12.5%. But politically, have the Conservatives opened up a potentially very big flank to the Labour Party on pensions, all to try to keep a couple of hundred NHS consultants still working? Is it a political mistake to be seen to be benefiting the top 1% of earners and not anybody else?
Yeah, well, the answer to that has to be a yes. You've highlighted the politics. But to understand the economics, why he took this step, then you can actually weigh the politics and the economics up together. Basically, the monetary policy room for manoeuvre is limited. The Bank of England is raising rates. The fiscal room for manoeuvre on tax and spending, the Chancellor thinks is limited. I, like you, don't think he should be putting up taxes. And corporation tax increase, I don't think should have gone ahead. So what he's decided is no room for manoeuvre on monetary policy, no room for manoeuvre on fiscal policy. I have to boost the supply side. And there are two issues to focus on. Trying to encourage firms to invest more and trying to get more people into the labour force. You highlighted immigration earlier. He's also yesterday highlighted childcare to try and encourage more people to work. And then on top of that, there was this change on pensions. I think, to be frank, he should have gone for specific changes to the public sector and to the NHS pension schemes. That would have been far better targeted, would have achieved what he wanted, and would have not gone down this political negative route that you've correctly highlighted.